The Thar Desert. Scorched by a near-permanent drought, it is India's most inhospitable region. All that live here face a constant struggle to find food and water. Yet, it has become a refuge to some of the world's most endangered species. People have also made their home here, with millions living in bustling desert cities, which have become a beacon to adaptable primates and scavenging birds of prey. Governed by the drought, humans and animals have forged unique alliances in order to survive the Great Indian Plains. The very heart of the Thar Desert is a barren and desolate place, dominated by sand dunes of epic proportions. Ferocious winds of up to 150 kilometers an hour give birth to these giants. Ever morphing, some can reach dizzying heights of over 150 meters. Bordering Pakistan, the Thar lies in the northwest of India, with the mighty Himalayas to the northeast and the dry teak Gir Forest to the south. Stretching for over 200,000 square kilometers, it is known as India's Great Desert. The Thar receives as little as 100 millimeters of rainfall per year. Temperatures can soar to a blistering 50 degrees Celsius. Few can survive this undulating and arid landscape. Yet there are signs of life in the baking sands. Scarab beetles have made their home here. Traveling across the scorched region, they leave a telltale track in their wake. They are not the only insect to call the Thar home. Darklings also survive here. These are running beetles. They sprint across their barren world on a constant search for food. Plants transported via the desert's harsh winds supply the hungry insects with a vital food source. This is not the only darkling that has noticed the rare treat. Armor is essential in these harsh conditions. The darkling's rigid back protects delicate wings encased within the shell. Abundant throughout India, scorpions are perhaps the armored kings of the insect world. Over 80 species roam the plains of India. As impressive as the scorpion's armor looks, all must seek shelter from the Thar's famed deadly winds. A sandstorm begins to brew. Using their powerful limbs, scarab beetles can burrow into the sand to avoid the impending storm. Others aren't so lucky and are caught out by the ferocious winds. Insects frantically search for safety. Sparse desert shrubs provide some shelter. Finally, the storm subsides. But it has taken its toll. For some, however, it presents an opportunity. Desert ants are quick to reap the rewards. A flagging scorpion is instantly attacked. It stands no chance. It seems brutal, but these scouting ants have a colony to feed. Tugging at each side of the fallen scorpion, it is apparent that it is far too large to carry whole. Systematically, they begin to cut it down to size. Using their powerful jaws, limbs are severed into more manageable portions. Nothing will go to waste. The ants will take every part of the scorpion back to their queen. Even the venomous stinger is taken. Insect life in the great Indian plains is a ruthless one. Danger lurks around every corner. A praying mantis lays in wait. Camouflaged against its arid surroundings, it is the perfect ambush predator. Huge compound eyes allow mantids to see in 3 dimensions. They are the only known invertebrate to have 3D vision. This unsuspecting grasshopper walks right into the mantid's trap. Lightning-quick front legs strike, grabbing the helpless victim. Instantly, the grasshopper is devoured. While insects flourish in the desert, the lack of water means there are few mammals. But one species has become synonymous with the arid landscape and thrives under the harsh conditions. The dromedary camel. Humans first domesticated camels over 3,000 years ago. With the desert providing little water for crops, the nomadic people of the Thar rely on livestock and trading to eke out a living. These travelers are on an annual journey across the Thar Desert to one of India's largest cattle markets, the Nagur Fair. Capable of carrying over 200 kilos on their back, camels provide the perfect transportation across this inhospitable region. They move effortlessly across the baking sands. Thick footpads spread when making contact with the ground, acting as snowshoes on the shifting surface. Despite covering distances of over 100 kilometers without taking on water, camels can withstand extreme rises in core body temperature of more than 6 degrees Celsius. A feat that could spell death to many of their domesticated rivals. The secret to their thirst-resistant talent lies partly in their iconic hump. Each hump stores over 36 kilograms of fat. When sustenance is not available, they break this fat down into energy-rich nourishment. After days of travel, respite finally comes as they reach their destination. Every year, tens of thousands of people travel from all corners of the Thar to reach the bustling fair. It is a time to celebrate their traditional way of life. Old friends and family are reunited, congregating around campfires. A tented community briefly flourishes in the desert. Thousands of livestock are traded during the 8-day-long market. Attentive traders scrutinize what is on offer. The Mawari, a rare breed of desert horse, indigenous to these lands and much revered throughout India. They are famed for their loyalty and bravery on the battlefield. Proud owners decorate their horses, showcasing them to prospective buyers. Highly valued, their unique smooth step, the raval, enables the rider to travel across sand in comfort. However, the Mawari cannot rival the camel's ability to withstand the desert's most extreme conditions. Owners take great pride in their precious animals and celebrate their astonishing resilience. With meticulous detail, the camels are transformed into living works of art. Desert peoples celebrate and respect their livestock because they are essential to their very survival. However, this is not limited to livestock alone. Just over 80 kilometers to the northwest of Nagaur lies the secluded town of Deshnok. The people of this town revere a very different species to the pragmatic camel. A species that was primarily responsible for the spread of the bubonic plague. A disease that killed 1/3 of the human population in Europe and still exists to this day. Yet thousands of Hindus flock to Deshnok to worship at what has been dubbed the Temple of Nightmares. Kani Mata Temple is crawling with over 20,000 rats. The rodent inhabitants are believed to be the miracle goddess Kani Mata's reincarnated children. Visiting worshippers believe it is an honor to feed the temple's rats. Some have traveled great distances for the experience, and the rats gladly indulge the visitors. Some regulars take it to the next level, dining with the rodent residents. Harboring lethal bacteria in their mouths, one bite could lead to a deadly fever. But there is no need to bite the generous visitors. In the temple's 600 years of existence, there has never been a reported outbreak of plague or disease. Although people and animals do not always live in harmony. "300 kilometers away, to the east of the Thar, is the state's capital, Jaipur. A desert city that seems like another world. Over 2 million people inhabit this sprawling city. Yet the people of Jaipur don't have the city to themselves. It is also home to the most wide-ranging of primates, rhesus macaques. "40 gangs roam these streets, reaping the benefits of this man-made desert oasis. But one has risen above them all. The 60-strong Temple Troop. Living in a temple dedicated to the monkey god, Hanuman, they live a life of luxury. Thousands of pilgrims visit the temple to worship the monkey god. Handouts aren't just tolerated in the temple, they are encouraged. Guarded by a grizzled male, the troop savors their privileged status, gorging themselves on the plentiful handouts. Carefree, they relax in the temple's pools. Life on the street, however, is not so comfortable. Street macaques cannot rely on handouts. Nonetheless, food is plentiful. It just takes a little more cunning to obtain it. An unattended street vendor's food cart is an opportunity that cannot be missed. These furry thieves will pilfer anything they can get their hands on, stuffing excess food into their cheek pouches for later. The gang completely obliterates the street vendors' stock. Before the owner knows it, the macaques have made a swift exit. Jaipur has become a desert sanctuary to these adaptable macaques, providing them with all they need to survive. It's not only macaques that rely on the great Indian desert. One of the Earth's great migrators, the demersal crane, travels thousands of kilometers from their breeding grounds in China and Russia to take advantage of the desert people's famed hospitality. But one giant barrier stands in their way: the Himalayas. Stretching for over 2,400 kilometers across Asia, it serves as a natural border to the northeast of India. The tallest peak rises 8,000 meters above sea level: Everest. This mountain range prevents cold winds blowing in from the north and down into the Thar, keeping the Great Desert warm and dry. There is no way round for the cranes. They must brave the jagged peaks. At these heights, oxygen saturation drops to only 1/3 of sea level. These fragile-looking birds must conserve their energy to survive. It's a perilous journey, worth taking to escape their freezing breeding grounds. Flying for days on end without rest, the flock is exhausted by the time they reach their destination. The tiny desert village of Kachan. Arriving in their thousands, the village is engulfed by the migrating birds. Demersal cranes regularly winter on cultivated fields, and as a result, are persecuted in many parts of the world. However, the people of Kachan honor the crane's arrival, feeding them throughout their 6-month stay. It is a remarkable sacrifice made by the village, as food stocks must be rationed for the impending dry season. Kachan has now become an established wintering ground for thousands of migrating cranes. Such admiration is not limited to cranes alone. In another part of the region, scavengers get special treatment too. South of the tiny village stands the imposing city of Jodhpur, known as the gateway to the desert. Marangarh Fort towers 120 meters above the city. The commanding fort has become a lifeline to the city's raptor population. Black kites soar in the skies above, utilizing the hot thermals. Occupying a colossal range worldwide, these spectacular raptors are thought to be the most abundant bird of prey on Earth. In many parts of the world, this species migrates during the winter, but Jodhpur's population stays year-round. They are fed throughout the year by the people of Jodhpur. Protected by the government, it is a great privilege to feed the false black kites. Cherished by the city, black kites thrive in their desert fortress. Honored above all of Jodhpur's wild inhabitants is the Hanuman langur, believed to be the living incarnation of the monkey god. These are desert monkeys. They are one of the only primates to survive in such unforgiving conditions. Poison-proof stomachs allow these silvery primates to survive on leaves and berries that would prove harmful to other species. Bacterial colonies living in the langur's stomach allow them to digest their toxic cuisine. However, they will not pass up man-made opportunities, especially in the midst of the dry season. Using their powerful limbs, the troop journey into the city. Incredibly agile, they effortlessly navigate the busy streets en route to the city's fort. They know exactly where to go to find the best handouts. In this desert community, people have taken the welfare of their wild neighbors into their own hands. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet with plenty to go round. Bananas are a particular favorite. Although it's not their natural food source, it is gratefully received. A relationship of trust has blossomed. Langur troops are made up of closely related females, which never leave their natal group. Young males, however, are forced out of the troop by the alpha male before they reach adulthood. Unbeknown to the feasting females, a pack of rogue bachelor males patrol the ramparts. With no troop of their own, these males team up to try to overthrow one by force. Relaxed from their feeding, the females let their guard down. Sensing a weakness, the males launch their assault. Troop takeovers are a bloody affair. The new males would kill the current infants in order to create their own bloodline. Females cling to their young, keeping them away from the violent fighting. Dwarfing the females, the sisterhood must stand strong. Finally, they repel the vicious onslaught. The bachelors flee, but they will be back. Male takeovers are part and parcel of langur life. Scarred from previous battles, this alpha male's days at the top are numbered. With the drought ahead, battles will only intensify. Another species seeks refuge amongst the ford's battlements, the critically endangered Indian vulture. Often mistaken as a symbol of death, Jodhpur's vultures haven't fared as well as the city's kites and langurs. Populations have dropped by as much as 95%. Vultures provide a crucial role to the ecosystem. They are highly specialized in rapidly disposing of carcasses. But many cattle and livestock the vultures consume have been administered with an anti-inflammatory veterinary drug, which is having a drastic impact on their numbers. Lethal to vultures, the drug causes severe kidney failure and ultimately death. People are already feeling the effects of the vulture's dramatic decline, with carcasses being left to rot in the streets, increasing feral dog populations, which can spread the deadly rabies disease. The lethal drug has now been banned, which is helping to stabilize vulture numbers. In a nearby desert village, the residents have a natural approach to conservation. The Bishnoi live to 29 strict principles to ensure they do not harm any living thing. Most importantly, the Kajari tree. Known as famine food, the Kajari tree's leaves provide a lifeline to animals and humans alike. Even the bark can be consumed during particularly bad droughts. Firewood is essential to the Bishnoi, but cutting living wood is strictly forbidden. Only dead wood is taken. Considered the world's first ecologists, animals flock to these guardians of the desert. All animals are treated as one of their own. The Thar Desert is a stronghold for one of the world's smallest antelope. Weighing in at a mere 20 kilos, the Indian gazelle is usually a shy species, avoiding contact with people. Yet they show no fear, being hand-fed by the Bishnoi. Blackbuck also graze around the borders of the village. Protected in the Thar, the species has not fared so well elsewhere. Numbers have sharply declined in the last 100 years, with the species becoming extinct in Bangladesh, Nepal, and Pakistan. The buck and gazelle must remain vigilant. Indian wolves stalk these lands. Blackbuck is their favorite food, making up to 40% of their diet. But the buck and gazelle are safe for now. Wolves will not strike with people being in such close proximity. They must return to their litter, empty-handed. Wolf pups aren't the only ones going hungry during the long, hot, dry season. In Jaipur, the entire city is now gripped by the drought. It is a desperate time for the street macaques. There is little to go round. But life is not so hard for the temple troop. They still have access to a precious water source. One of the temple's pools has yet to dry up. From their rooftop kingdom, the troop survey their domain. For the street macaques, life appears to be greener on the other side of the wall. They also want a taste of the high life. Territory is hotly disputed. A life on the street has taken a toll on these macaques. They will do almost anything to claim the temple and its precious water supply. The temple troop must fight to keep their home. As they approach, the gang posture with their mouths wide open, a tactic used by macaques to try and intimidate their foe. Forming a defensive wall, the temple troop create an intimidating barrier. But desperation is a powerful driving force. The street troop fancy their chances. Charging at the temple troop, they penetrate the defensive line. This is their opportunity. In the chaos, the street macaque's dominant male launches an attack on the temple's alpha female. It's a decisive move, but the alpha female's family leap to her defense. Woefully outnumbered, the big male retreats. His street troop follows suit. With the troop failing to secure the temple territory, they must find food elsewhere. Their violent behavior has not gone unnoticed by the people. Jaipur has employed a monkey catcher to rid the city of problem macaques. He knows the macaques' favored routes through town. Macaques can carry deadly diseases, which could be transmitted to humans. One bite from a problematic macaque could prove fatal. But these are sacred animals, and it is strictly forbidden to harm them. This monkey catcher uses only humane methods to prevent further conflict. Strategically, he places the traps and baits them with the troops' favorite food. Now it is a waiting game. The unsuspecting troop have no idea what lays in wait. The more experienced members of the troop are suspicious. It looks too good to be true. But temptation gets the better of them. There is no escape for the captives. However, it is not the end of the line for the macaque inmates. They are taken on a one-way journey away from the city to their ancestral home. Although this is their natural environment, it seems like another world to these city-bred primates. Having never lived in the wild, it will take some getting used to. They forage for the few leaves they recognize. Beckoned by familiarity, one adaptable macaque has found a nutrient-rich roadside snack. The drought is a struggle for all, and adapting to the water-deprived conditions is key. At the southern edge of the desert lies the tinder-dry Gir Forest, the last stronghold of the Asiatic lion. Once hunted to the brink of extinction, today over 500 individuals roam these lands. Smaller than their African cousins, males have a distinctive short black mane, as well as a prominent skin fold running along their stomachs. Hunting small prey, Asiatic lions do not need the cooperation of a larger pride. Females often hunt alone. Thirsty spotted deer congregate at one of the few remaining waterholes. Vital water sources become killing grounds. Leopards also stalk these lands. With a cub in tow, this female must take care not to wander into the lion's territory. Lions are notoriously territorial. It is not uncommon for lions to kill trespassing leopards. A male lion can outweigh a leopard by up to 160 kilos. Solitary by nature, this leopard has no pride for reinforcements. Her best form of defense is avoidance. She must search elsewhere for food. With temperatures soaring to nearly 50 degrees, the oppressive drought is now at its peak. Even Jaipur's street macaques cannot avoid the crippling heat. City taps are locked down. Water supplies are running out. It is not only water that is in demand. The troop is hungry too. Handouts are diminishing as the city feels the effects of the water shortage, reducing the troop to rummaging through litter for food. Even up in the temple, there is little this troop can do to avoid the relentless heat. The macaques decide to conserve energy. and begin a lengthy grooming session. It's their ultimate way of unwinding. Heart rates lower and social bonds are strengthened. It's all the macaques can do to distract themselves from the oppressive conditions. One of the youngest members of the troop has succumbed to the drought. The mother has carried her lifeless baby around for hours. Eventually, she appears to accept her infant is gone. The troop is uncharacteristically subdued. Juveniles inspect the lifeless body, gently touching their fallen relative, looking for signs of life. It is too late for one young member of the gang, and if the rains do not come soon, more casualties will follow. All they can do is wait. Droughts can rage for months on end without yielding. Finally, there is change in the air. The monsoon stirs. Moisture-laden winds blow in from the Indian Ocean, traveling across the Indian subcontinent, reaching the Himalayas, and are forced upwards by the colossal natural barrier. As the air rises, it cools, forming clouds. Charged with electricity, they burst and give birth to the monsoon. Reaching Jaipur, the city is transformed within minutes. Dry roads and pavements mutate into wild rapids, flooding the streets. No one seems to mind. In fact, the animals and people of Jaipur celebrate the rains, rejoicing in their newfound water world. New water-soaked textures fascinate the juveniles in the troop. For some, it's the first time they've experienced rain. Eventually, the troop tires from their celebrations and seeks shelter from the rain. The monsoon has breathed life into all corners of India's Great Plains. Soils become fertile, and temple pools once again fill with rainwater. Pilgrims return, and so do the handouts. All are quick to reap the benefits of the precious water. The monsoon has given the wildlife of the Thar the respite they need to survive one of the world's harshest climates. India's Great Plains a desolate and barren world. Parched and gasping for water for the majority of the year, the inhabitants of the crowded plains fight for survival. Battles are fierce and tragedies common. Yet the spirit of compassion endures. Working together, they survive the drought and rejoice in the monsoon.